Ye old broom, where have you been? A 3-0 sweep. The morning wager on Tuesday's show. Mark Zinno, congrats to us, I suppose, is in order for that. Am I interrupting something, sir? Were you not informed the show was starting?
I'm looking at things because you've pissed me off.
Oh,
So,
oh no.
yes.
I thought you'd be happy that we went 3-0 on the show yesterday.
I'm happy for the viewers. I'm happy for them. I feel like they deserve this. We have kind of disappointed them over the past week or so. It hasn't been a good run.
That's where I said, where have you been, old broom? Because I have not broken it out in quite some time.
Probably in the closet.
It is.
It's about time we came out of the closet.
It is. You look a little touched up today yourself, by the way.
I did. I touched myself up. But yesterday I was very grainy. I think I set my resolution settings wrong. So I've now fixed those.
There's nothing better than starting the show with resolution discussion.
Speaking of resolution, Bryan Power and I were arguing today about this Houston Astros Tampa Bay Rays game, and he's pissed me off.
Oh no.
I want to take the Astros on the first 5. I think the money line is a manageable enough price at -140 for me to do it. But Bryan Power's like, I don't know. I think it's a tricky spot. It's a tricky spot. Best starter of baseball's on the freaking mound. I don't know. The price is weird. You know that 140 price range, it just kills you. It just kills you.
Okay, you want to have a little debate on this game before we get to our double play?
Yeah, by the way, because you've pissed me off because I want to be able to come here tomorrow and tap dance all over your face and say, I told you so.
Okay, fine. We'll go a little mano here on Astros Rays. I simply pointed out that this is a big price flip relative to the first 2 games. Tampa Bay was a $1.30 favorite or higher the first 2 games of the series. Yes,
correct.
Houston did win one of them, but now Houston's -150. I know Brown's been great. I did get a win against him, though, his last time out when Jacob deGrom outdueled him in a 1-0.
You think he's going to lose 2 in a row?
He could.
Oh, now all of a sudden it's he could. Yeah, okay. Mister, what are they going to lose every game this year? Yeah, now all of a sudden we've had a change.
What's he going to win every game this year? Is he going to pitch well every game?
He just lost his last time out.
Pitched well, though.
On one cheap-ass home run. Dude, this guy has had 9 strikeouts for 5 consecutive starts.
He's good. Hunter Brown's good pitcher.
Okay.
Good pitcher.
What am I missing?
Houston can't hit. All right. Anyway.
Yes, Houston, the offense is a little bit of a problem, which is why, with the money line price, I felt favorable about keeping the tie in my back pocket in case those guys only score 1 run. And Hunter Brown gives up 1 run, I don't walk away with a loss.
Oh, is that how that works?
Don't be a douche. I know how.
Mark Zinno with maybe.
Okay, so are you officially taking Tampa Bay on the first 5 money line? That's your statement.
I gave it out as a no. I'll take them full game.
No. That's not what we're talking about. You keep poo-pooing my first 5.
No, I didn't poo-poo.
You did.
There was no poo-poo.
There's poo-poo.
No, there's no poo-poo. I said Rays full game. I'll be honest with you. I gave it out on the Power 5.
The Power 5 sucks. Stupid show. Don't even watch it.
It swept yesterday as well. But there were some crossover among the plays. All right, from this one. Always my number one priority, Mark Zinno. You're my number one priority in life.
Oh, you're full of shit.
There's no one I talk to more than you.
No, that is true. Basis. There is nobody I talk to more than you. 100%.
All right. I don't know.
I was abhorrently stupid yesterday, by the way.
Oh, well, we can get into that later. Let's get into the plays. Again, yesterday was one of those days. I rewatched the show. Yesterday. Yesterday was another one of those shows. We did sweep, but it took us about 5 minutes to get into the actual plays. I don't think the people like that, Zinno.
Well, then get there, dude.
Oh, okay. Well, your half of the double play. You are talking about one of your favorite things, the Atlanta Braves.
No, they're not my favorite thing because last night
it was facetiousness.
I was stupid.
Oh,
okay. There are things that are bad beats, and then there are bad bets. And in retrospect, last night I made a bad bet.
Ooh.
My $5 Tuesday play, I gave out the Braves -1.5. And look, Bryan Power has this steadfast rule of never betting a starter in his first starter off the IL, right? Like you almost never do it.
I don't do it.
Okay, ever? Never done it?
I mean, okay, if one was to check my entire bet history in my life, I may have done it once.
Okay.
Twice. 3 times. Sold.
Right. Got it. Last night was one of those nights where I chose to back Spencer Strider in his first start off the IL, and he gave up 3 runs promptly in the bottom of the first inning, and we were dead on arrival.
DOA.
But the reason why I was so adamant about playing the Braves, and the -1.5 was the best price point, and that's kind of what drove it at -110. Like I wasn't, the first 5 was -140, and it's just, even though I'm talking about Houston being -140 right now, it's not something I'm always comfortable with, especially with the starter coming off the IL. There was a lot more variance there. With Hunter Brown, I feel like there's less variance, especially with him coming off a loss. So anyway, but back to the Braves. What really set me over the edge was a couple things. One, it was Strider's record against the Nationals, but the bigger part is, and BP and I have talked about this off air, the Braves seem to have loved playing in Washington, D.C. They were a whopping 26-10 since 2020, 26-10 in D.C. That's 72.2% win percentage in D.C. And strangely, last year, the Braves took 4 of those 10 losses in 1 year. So the other first 4 years of, or 3 years of 2020, 4 years, 2020, 21, 22, 23, they were an insanely good number. And so because they had that record, and overall since 2020, the Braves are 50-28 against the Nats, and only 11 of those 50 wins were by 1 run. Here's where I keep going with this. Just follow me here. So that was the reason I bet them last night, because it feels like this is the same situation with the Braves they do with the Marlins. Either Atlanta wins big or they lose outright. So the only 2 ways to bet this are lay the 1.5 and take some even money plus money, or take Washington to win outright. Well, I'm going to come back with a 1.5 again tonight. We get a more quality starter. I don't know if he's a better starter when healthy, but AJ Smith-Shawver's on the mound. He's been great. He's got a sub-3 ERA. And this time around, the Nats aren't starting Mitchell Parker. They're starting Trevor Williams, whose ERA is almost 6. Hopefully the Braves bats wake up again. The other thing that happened last night that I don't expect to happen tonight is the Nats bullpen held the Braves scoreless. In case you haven't been tracking, the Nats have a really bad bullpen. In fact, second highest ERA, second highest bullpen whip in all of baseball. I'm going to come back and lay the 1.5 again with the Braves tonight. And guess what, Brian Power?
The Braves will get all night at bats because they're the away team. So you don't have to worry about not getting that final at bat. You can lay the 1.5 with the road team.
That is true. I wouldn't say it like that, but it is true. And Mark Zinno back to the well with the Atlanta Braves, -1.5 on the run line in our nation's capital there. His half of the double play. Smash that like button if you agree. I'm giving you an early one here on the show. As always, it pays to click that subscribe button. It really does, Mark, because that way you get instantly notified when the show drops and you don't miss any free plays when we talk about these day games like we are here today. At least I am with Cubs Marlins. Okay, I will lay the price here with the Cubs. Now I know Max Meyer is going for Miami, but Mark, and he is just one man of at least 20 that will contribute to this ball game, and he will not be in for the entire game. And oh, by the way, Meyer hasn't been very good of late. How about a 7.16 ERA his last 3 starts? The Cubs are a much better team than the Marlins. How do I know this? 1, I looked at the MLB standings today, and 2, I watched last night's game when they won 14-1 here in Miami. I know Miami stole the series opener. I don't think they're taking 2 or 3 from the Cubs. A vastly superior Cubs team. Cade Horton starting for the Cubs. I'll channel my inner Chris Berman here. Cade Horton, here's a who. He's a top prospect, okay? He kind of struggled a little bit so far in his big league career, but advanced metrics, they're pretty good. His expected ERA sitting close to 3, so he's pitched better than I think some of the numbers show. Miami's just not a very fearsome lineup. I think this is a decent price to take the Cubbies to win the series in Miami. So that is my half of the double play. Please comment down below with your thoughts. Are the Chicago Cubs a sound bet here on Wednesday afternoon? Mark Zinno, what says you?
I could tell people to comment with something down below, but they usually get upset when I start insulting you, so I won't do it today.
Oh.
They think I'm mean to you.
You know, you bring it up. I don't think you're mean. You're just really an angry person overall.
No, I'm not an angry person overall. I'm angry at you. There's a difference. I did call him a douche in the intro. Yeah, that's fair. nonetheless.
Thank you for marking that down. I had actually, I wasn't lying yesterday when I say I forget. It goes in one ear out the other. You have to, in this industry, you have to have thick skin, especially when you're working with Mark Zinno.
Yeah. But people think, again, people still think that we fight. Like they don't realize we're like a married couple. We're never separating. We're never divorcing. This is for life. Again, you said earlier, I talk to you more than I talk to any human alive.
No, I've spoken to you every day now for God knows how long.
Probably almost 2 years straight.
Yeah. What else am I doing?
It really has been that long.
What else am I doing? Well, I'm going to have MLB and NBA tonight up at the site, WT.buzz/BP. We'll be getting to our show Best Bet in just a minute. It is a best bet now because we won last night. What a kind of a sound. I know that you're going to go off, so I don't want to talk about that too much now about the NBA best bet from last night.
No, again, it was a stupid bet by me. Sorry. Okay. Holding.
But I would like to admit defeat at something. I lost my $5 play yesterday in soccer. It was a dumb bet. You talk about bad beats, bad bets, bad bet. Yeah. Taking Wolves draw no bet against Crystal Palace was not a good bet. I thought Crystal Palace was going to be in full letdown.
Apparently, none of the Wolves were a good bet last night.
No, it was not a good day to bet the Wolves, no matter the sport, on Tuesday. Very good there, Zinno. But I did turn around after losing the $5 play, sweep my MLB and NBA combo. We had Anthony Edwards under 25.5 points. We had over 10.5 in the Phillies-Rockies game. 4-1 overall the last 2 days. So the only loser we had was the $5 play. I'm very sorry about that because I know that's the one a lot of you were on. We will have another MLB and NBA combo tonight, WT.buzz/BP. At least I think we will. I've already got my NBA play set. I'm coming back with another player prop. I have not decided yet on my top release for Major League Baseball. As of this recording.
You act like people care. Nonetheless, I will tell you that. Well, okay. All right. I think what people care about on the internet is very, very small. But some people on the internet think it's very, very big. And I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about some other people, particularly in this industry. Not at WagerTalk, too. Go crazy. Actually, not making fun of somebody at WagerTalk. Weird. Anyway, but I was stupid last night because I played T-Wolves full game for the clients. And, we should have just followed the first half bet. Because that one cashed in the full game.
That did. That was our show best.
I mean, what the hell? It's a 60-60 ball game with 5:50 left in the third quarter. Like, did the T-Wolves not realize that you had to play a full 4 quarters?
I'll tell you what, man. When Oklahoma City starts forcing turnovers, it goes quick for the opponents. They just turn that game, and you're like, holy crap.
I mean, did you see the Minnesota bench shooting last night?
It wasn't good.
Oh, my God.
I mean, outside of Anthony Edwards, who I'm sitting there squirming. I'm like, God, he's going to have like all their points. Yeah. And he didn't have any points in the fourth quarter, thankfully.
They didn't have to play. They were down by 30.
Other than Randall, no one particularly had a good game for Minnesota. Kendrick Perkins, who I think
Dante DiVincenzo was like, no, we just excommunicated him. He's no longer part of our culture. No.
Oh. Is he allowed back in?
Well, maybe. Next time I bet on the Wolves, if he actually shows up to play. What was it? I think he was 3 for 14 from 3 last night. Does that sound about right?
The meatballs were dry.
Yeah, they were very dry. I mean, his
balls were dry.
His balls were not worthwhile.
Okay.
His balls did not land where they were supposed to.
Okay, that's Bob Barker's balls and Dante DiVincenzo's balls you brought up here.
People got a good reaction, and people did like. They agree. Press your luck. Very good show. Very good show.
Whose balls will Mark Zinno talk about on tomorrow's show? Stay tuned for that.
It's uncomfortable.
I had a point in all of this.
You almost never have a point.
No, I do. And we're going to talk about the NBA Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals here. It is best bet time on the show. Mark Zinno, this is a very interesting and, dare I say, difficult series for me to handicap. Yeah. Why is that? Well, number one, I did not expect either of these teams to be playing in this series. I was someone who thought it was going to be Cavs Celtics all year. Obviously, these two teams had other ideas. Also, I cannot decide what is more likely to regress moving forward. Is it going to be the Pacers shooting from the first 2 rounds, where they were 50% overall from the field, 40% from 3? Or is it the Knicks, who have gotten away with allowing just 34% shooting from 3 on 38.8 attempts per game. Also, I want to throw this to you. A pace war. That's something we usually talk about in college basketball where teams often play at wildly different tempos. Well, I think we've got one here in the Eastern Conference Finals, sir, because the Pacers are going to want to play fast. The Knicks are going to want to play slow. Side and total, honestly, for tonight, I don't have a clue. But you and I do agree on a player prop for game one, and it is Karl Anthony Towns. So address anything I talked about there, and please talk about Cat, your boy.
I think the Pacers shooting is more likely to regress. I mean,
Okay.
and I would tell you, just if you take those two things of regression, if the Pacers shooting regression happens, it doesn't happen, the Knicks 3-point defense regression because the Pacers are missing shots.
Yes.
So
It's an either or. That's why it's hard. Only one can regress. If both could regress, I would say, well, guess what? We're going to go the complete opposite way, but only one can regress.
I'll say the same thing about Indiana that I said in the Cleveland series. Indiana is very highly unlikely to win a game that goes under. It's just a reality. I told you all week long as we were leading up to this game since the weekend. What did I say my favorite bet was, Brian Power? What did I say I wanted to do?
As I get my Mark Zinno notepad out here of the many things you like to tell me, it looks like you were saying Knicks team total over.
Okay, now don't do that because you no, okay, because I was just chiding you on the phone earlier that you don't listen to what I say when I say things, and you said, "What am I supposed to do? Get your notepad out and write all your stuff down?" Yes, that's what you're supposed to do. Anyway, yes, I said all week long I wanted the Knicks team total. But that 113.5 number, yeah, I know. Look at all the notes, how full they are. That 113.5 total was yellow high for the Knicks, wasn't it? Didn't it feel like it was really high? And now it's up to 114.5. So, I mean, go ahead.
How long was that? No, I was just, as you were talking about, it got me thinking in a different direction. How wrong was the steam on that over last night and the Thunder T-Wolves? That thing never had a chance.
Because Minnesota went to shit and with 5 minutes left in the third quarter.
But still, it was never trending over. That total closed 219. It was bet up like 5 points.
Yeah, well,
it's a big move.
Listen, nobody had Minnesota only scoring 88 points. Come on.
I did. I'm kidding. I didn't. I thought I
know you did.
Look, I liked him in the first half. I told you.
Yeah, so did I. Except I wasn't smart enough to tell that to the clients, just the people on this show, which I'm glad I made you guys smarter. But hey, still an idiot. All right. So
Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, I'll get to that part now. I had some more things I wanted to say, but I'm not allowed to because Brian Power gets very upset. Karl Anthony Towns has this for numbers. 4 games against the Indiana Pacers this year. Ready for the averages? 30.3 points, 12 rebounds, 56.6% shooting. They being the Indiana Pacers, do not have an answer for Karl Anthony Towns. I love this play. In fact, I'm going to make this a client play. I love it. I do. I don't know that they're going to be able to slow him down. So I feel very comfortable here with Karl Anthony Towns. They don't really have anybody with the size that can match up with him inside. So he should be able to gobble up a ton of rebounds. And we know what his shooting is, right? He'll hit threes, and certainly he'll get fed in the middle from Brunson. I'm kind of curious to see what the Knicks' game plan is, if they're just going to continue to feed him the way they have all season long against the Pacers. But this is a Karl Anthony Towns. If he doesn't have a double-double, something went wrong, wildly wrong in this game. So 20 and 10 for him shouldn't be a problem here. But I think we get a lot more than that.
All right, that's your best bet. It's not just a bet today. It is indeed a best bet off yesterday's best bet winner. I'll let you talk about the NBA. I feel terrible now that you had more points.
No, I didn't really have anything else to say. I just,
no, because I was thinking that I was going to make a point, and then I trailed off and didn't finish making it. It was about my point was about last night's game. Let me get this out first because it's completely random. Kendrick Perkins, who I usually don't ever agree with on anything, he's not particularly astute in my opinion. He did make a good point at halftime. He goes, man, if you're Minnesota, you should not feel good that you're only up 4 points. As bad as Gilgeous-Alexander, as SGA was in the first half, as bad as Oklahoma City was shooting the three, you could kind of sense that perhaps the tides could change in the second half. So I just wanted to make that point just to double back to our best bet yesterday about Minnesota in the first half. They came out strong like we thought, but Oklahoma City locked down defensively in the second half.
Information that would have been useful to me yesterday. Although it was.
Were you not watching the game? I'm simply reiterating something that was on the broadcast.
It was information that was they're useful because we gave it out and I didn't use it because, hey, idiot. I mean, the only thing I was going to say in reference to the game was simply that, depending on how this game unfolds from a game script standpoint, Indiana's team total at 109.5 feels very low for them. I mean, look, right now, if the Knicks win the game 115 to 110, both teams go over their team total, the game goes over, and the Knicks cover. Right? 4.5.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
there's a world where that happens.
Yes, that's my point. I think that, there's what's hard about this series to figure out is there's multiple things that could happen. Look, if you're right, okay, and we are right that Indiana's shooting regresses, this is a game where they might not score 100. What was that game against Cleveland, game 3, where they got smoked? What was the final score of that game? Do you remember? They didn't score 100 in that game, right?
They didn't. They waved the white flag in the second half.
Yeah, they did.
Actually, it was because I think, because the Cavs went on a big run. They scored 104 in the game they lost, 104.
That's right, in the game that they weren't even trying.
So to your point here, just to put some numbers behind what Zinno is saying, in the 8 games the Pacers have won this postseason, they have scored 114 or more in all of them. In the 2 they lost, they scored 104 and 101. Now, I know there was some overtime involved in at least one of those Bucks games, right? One of the Bucks games went to overtime. The closeout game did. Remember, they were down big, and then they were kind of lucky in that one to get to 119. I believe that.
I think the game 2 was one. No, hold on. I'm looking at it right
now. It was the last game because I was like, oh, thank God Indiana's going to lose. The Cavs lost.
That's right. It went to OT. That's right. Yes. Indiana won the last game in OT.
Okay.
Where they scored 103. I think I had the team total.
You did have the team total over. You did.
And got lucky. Yeah.
What a handicapper. What a man.
Oh, well, not really.
Oh.
So, anyway, I think, again, there's a world where the Pacers are not even at 100 or barely breaking 100 if they're not going over this total. But I could see everything going over.
Okay. So just to recap here on the program, Mark Zinno likes the Braves -1.5 on the run line against the Nationals. I like the Cubs money line against the Marlins. And our best bet is Karl Anthony Towns for game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals over 34.5 points plus rebounds. Hopefully this can do as well as yesterday when we gave you T-Wolves first half. Knicks, Yankees over their team total. Boy, that got the 2 runs you needed late there. And then Reds, Pirates under. Doesn't get much easier than a 1-0 final that we gave you yesterday with that under. So that's going to do it for the show today. Remember to go to WT.buzz/MZ, WT.buzz/BP for all of our top plays. Click that subscribe button. It does keep the content free. You know that, Zinno.
I do. And
smash the like button. We always appreciate the support.
And I know you look extra touched up today. It's wonderful.
There we go. Until next time.
Chin pubes fuzz.
Nothing you've said on the show really hurt, but that one comes right out the door. You kick a guy in the ass.
Later, chin pubes.
Feeling good, it's fair to say.